little bit of time. I mean, if you can't, you got to train the people and give them the tools to succeed. But isn't it worth it if you can't feed your family in the United States because you didn't want to spend a couple weeks training somebody who spoke a language that's not necessarily English up front? If you can hand them training materials and you make the Camtasia videos for them, I suggest that you work with somebody more than a few weeks if it's the difference between you feeding your family and not feeding your family, because it wasn't like they weren't doing the work anymore. They were just paying somebody 4 or 5 times as much to do it here in the United States because they could speak English better and do it themselves. Well, you need to work with them. We gave other outsourcers the benefit of the doubt. We spent months working with them, but like Stuart's told me, he's had certain teams he'll put in 3 or 4 months with, and after a point you've got to throw in the towel, but it's certainly not after 2-3 weeks, and it's certainly not if you haven't given them training material first. But you should outsource everything. So, yes. Microphone, please. I'm sorry, he's doing some work back there. Maybe, can we have somebody that's not working on the project? Maybe my lovely wife.
You hit a nerve with me right here. I have a Joomla site under development right now, and I just let go a Bangladeshi team of Joomla experts that, you know, my experience with outsourcing is when you ask them, can they do something, what's the answer? Oh yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, 2.5, 3 months later, you know, it's killer. So what I finally did was, I get so busy that I let them go on for 2 months, and then finally found some time to find someone else who is a Joomla developer here stateside in Texas. Yes, I am paying the extra bucks for it, but I know that it's going to get done, and I don't have the time to keep wading through all these Joomla experts that are going to yes ma'am me to death.
Yep.
So, question for you: since you're further down the trail, do you have in these videos also any Joomla tutorials or any information that I can use? Because I'm certainly going to be going down more and more this road of developing Joomla sites.
There's 2 parts to that question. First of all is in the manual itself, one of the Easter eggs that you guys can find in there is a document that talks about who we use to do our software programming, and we talk about what it is that you need to ask for up front to judge whether or not they should be working for you. Anthony, we've got a couple of Facebook applications, and Anthony put together a 40 or 45 page requirements document for the first one for the guy. He was just bowled over, but Anthony went to school for computer science. And then we handed it over to the project manager. We actually have a tester, a programmer, and a project manager on team for it. And he hands it over to them, and then they get, you've made it easy for them, you've outlined everything that they need to know. And did we, we can't include the requirements document itself because it would show you everything about our software program. I can't do that. But in there, we talk about the steps that we went through, and we also give you the names of the people that we used. And then the Joomla part, we don't have Joomla, but a friend of mine who's going to be here Sunday has a Joomla training tutorial site. I'm sure I can buy rights to it to give to you. And also our business partner that's in Traffic King, Jeffrey, has myjoomlaguide.com, very inexpensive. He is our Joomla expert. He creates the content for our Traffic King people that's Joomla related, but he also has his sideline business. And I think it's $67. 97. Yeah, so he does that for a living, and so it's myjoomlaguide.com. And then somebody's going to be here Sunday. I haven't checked my email yet, but they're supposed to be here Sunday. They work with Joomla, and they got Joomla training materials, and we'll get some in there. If I have to buy it, I'll just buy it. I mean, it might not be worth making ourselves just for step by step how to do it. So.
Just a quick thing. I also going to take this up requirements documents. I've put out about a 30-page requirements document for this one, and ran into the problem that when you start questioning the project manager, you realize that the guy didn't even read part of it.
Yeah, we've had that. I've had as many software projects fail as succeeded. There's been different. I hire project managers sometimes outside of the company. This one has a project manager in our programming team. And then in my office, I have Anthony who runs our project for it in our office. And then he interfaces with the project manager on the team, development team. But we've had it where I've hired project managers before to go out there, and they do their due diligence, and they, even that as experts, end up with a crappy team of people working for you. And I have software I've spent thousands on, and it's worthless. So we're a little bit more stringent about requiring code libraries up front, sample documents, so on and so forth. And that's actually in the training manual for Facebook development. We talk about that. Question here?
Can you explain the difference between Joomla and Drupal?
Drupal? I don't know. That's how I call it. I don't know. They're both content management systems. Joomla is more recent in the sense that they split away from Mambo 2 years ago. Originally it was called Mambo, and still in development as Mambo, but the Joomla programmers left and started their own Joomla development. And Drupal has been around for years. Drupal was one of the first CMS systems I ever worked with. I spec'd out a software program for building blogs using Drupal probably 4 years ago. And other than that, they're just different flavors of the same thing, content management systems. They can both be used as platforms for developing websites. Some of the largest e-commerce sites that you see out there are actually developed on Drupal and or Joomla. So it really comes down to who do you have to work with particular software. I buy books. If you look in my library in my office, I have books, Drupal, PHP, BB, excuse me, Joomla. It's really just which flavor you choose.
I was told, I think I must be told too many things, that there is a difference in the database structure.
There is a difference.
And that if you needed a hierarchy of databases, that you had to go to Drupal.
Yes.
I picked the right one. Thanks.
But that's a difference most people don't need to know. If you have someone who's going to do it, if you're asking me to build a website with, I'd say do Joomla. If you're going to do it yourself, excuse me. It comes down to documentation and what's available out there, plus the templates are out there. Drupal is a coder's platform. So when I go to a coding team and ask them to develop something, and I say, what platform would you like to use? They'll come back with Drupal, where they come back with Joomla. But Joomla is more of a friendly, user-friendly system. Website development companies use it, and they design websites for the end user because it's somewhat more documented and easier for the end user to use and maintain after they're done building it for them. So, thank you. Okay, anything else? Pablo, I think I need 2 microphone runners.
Jeff, what is the big deal with the Joomla sites that would warrant spending $600 or $1,000 to put one up?
Just because the people couldn't do it themselves?
I mean,
There's nothing. I'll show you some sites that look beautiful that were installed by our software in minutes.
But what is the difference?